By self sorry, whenever a person experiences by self realization that both gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. Purport: the difference between self realization and material illusion is to know that the temporary or illusory imposition of material energy in the shape of gross and subtle bodies are superficial covering of the self. The coverings takes place due to ignorance. Such coverings are never effective in the person of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Knowing this convincingly is called liberation or seeing the Absolute. This means that perfect self-realization is made possible by adoption of godly or spiritual life. Self-realization means becoming indifferent to the needs of the gross and subtle bodies and becoming serious about the activities of the self. The impetus for activities is generated from the self, but such activities become illusory due to ignorance of the real position of the self. By ignorance, self-interest is calculated in terms of gross and subtle bodies, and therefore a whole set of activities is spoiled, life after life. When, however, one meets the self by proper culture, the activity of the self begins. Therefore, a man who is engaged in the activities of the self is called Jivan Mukta, or a liberated person even in the conditioned existence. This perfect stage of self-realization is attained not by artificial means, but under the lotus feet of the Lord, who is always transcendental. In the Bhagavad Gita, the Lord says that He is present in everyone's heart, and from Him only all knowledge, remembrance or forgetfulness takes place. When the living being desires to be an enjoyer of material energy, illusory phenomena, the Lord covers the living being in the mystery of forgetfulness, and thus the living being misinterprets the gross body and subtle mind to be his own self. And by culture of transcendental knowledge, when the living being prays to the Lord for deliverance from the clutches of forgetfulness, the Lord by His causeless mercy removes the living being's illusory curtain, and thus he realizes his own self. He then engages himself in the service of the Lord in his eternal constitutional position, becoming liberated from the conditioned life. All this is executed by the Lord either through His external potency or directly by the internal potency. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjaya Shalakya Chakshurantanena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vikasa Swamiti Namne. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamiti Namne. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharne Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashata Deshtare. यत्र में सद असद रूपे प्रतिसिद्धे स्वसंविदा अविद्या या आत्मनि कृते इति तद ब्रह्म दर्शनम. Whenever a person experiences by realization that both the gross and subtle bodies have nothing to do with the pure self, at that time he sees himself as well as the Lord. So we'll just take shelter of the previous shlokas to understand what this today's shlokas is trying to say, because they are in relationship. Text 31. Clouds and dust are carried by the air, but less intelligent person says that the sky is cloudy and the air is dirty. Similarly, they also implant material bodily conception on the spirit self. Text 32. Beyond the gross conception of form is another subtle conception of form, which is without formal shape and is unseen, unheard and unmanifest. The living being has his form beyond this subtlety, otherwise he could not have repeated births. So in this particular chapter, basically, which is entitled Krishna is the source of all incarnation, you get to see first that Krishna's different incarnation has been talked about, and now something else is talked about, which is his Vibhinamsha, which is the self, which is separated part of Krishna. So all these incarnations which has been talked about initially gives different account of 22 incarnations are listed, and they come at different times, circumstances and places. And we all know the reason for Lord's existence in this material world is only for a conditioned jiva to know what his real nature is. That I am a spirit soul, servant of Krishna, and I have been caught up into this illusory energy. And at the same time, in this particular setup of material existence, there is always disturbance. The real nature, the real reason why Krishna comes or his incarnation comes is to help the devotees, to deliver the devotees. But at the same time, when he comes, what he does is he annihilates the people, the demonic mentality, people of demonic mentality who are disturbing the naive people. Naive people in the sense who are innocent, who get influenced by forces in this material existence, by their views, and because they are naive, they are innocent, they are not able to apply their own intelligence, and they get carried away by the masses, by the wrong leaders in the society, and thus they get carried away and they pave their way into the hellish planets, that is coming into the animal kingdom later on subsequently. But the nature of the spirit soul is to seek happiness. In this pursuit of seeking happiness only, he get into the wrong ideas of understanding body is the real self, which is talked about in this particular shloka. So, at the same time, this what we talked about, it talks about the defect of our senses. We rely on our senses on everyday, day-to-day basis to understand what is around us, whether it is hot, cold, whether it is there is solid things, liquid things, whatever we do around, we all rely on our senses. But at the same time, too much reliance on senses, example to understand which is beyond the senses, which is the Supreme Person, which is the transcendental items, which is including our soul and the Supreme Lord Himself, we cannot understand through our senses. This is what the text is talking about. Air, we know air is there, yes, through we have been told by our parents, by surrounding, but can you be able to see air? No. But here the sloka gives an example, air can be seen only when it is dusty, when we can see a cyclone, dust, when there is all the dust which is there scattered around, that time we can see that it is, we call it is a dusty air, because we are able to see both things together and combined form a dust which we can see and air which we cannot see, which is combined, so it's called dusty air. That time we are able to feel that there is dusty air. Similarly, the sky is everywhere. The space which is there around is occupied by ether, which is called sky, and that is actually again is we are able to experience. If you look at outside, we don't see the sky as such. What we see is the reflected rays, which is blue in color, and then we say the sky is blue. The sky has no color, it's just space. But our defective senses, because the light has been reflected, it gives an impression that the sky is blue in color, right? We ask between the boys, what color the sky is? It's blue. It's not blue color, it's colorless. It's only the reflection of the light which makes it blue. Here again example is given of the clouds. The clouds are there gathered in the sky, then we are able to see about this is, where are the clouds? Clouds are in the sky because the location. Just like it is called in Bengal or Sanskrit it is called Shakhanyay, means a small child is told by the mother, can you see the moon? Now how a small child, how he knows anything? To understand something new has to be known something what is known first. We cannot jump directly to what is not known. So what we take as the basis of what is known. So the mother tells, do you see the tree? Yes. The child says, do you see the branches? Yes. In between these two branches is the moon. That's how the knowledge about the moon is given. It is reference is taken of the tree's branches. This is how a child is been taught. This is ancient knowledge. Many songs have been depicted through this knowledge. That even in Marathi, there is a special song is called Limbonicha Jhada Khali, which is the moon is shown in the position in terms of the tree. Similarly, things which is not perceivable by our gross senses, it has been taken in relationship. So that's what it is all about. Hence, we get to see there is necessity of intelligence. It's not just mere senses that we get information. To understand what is beyond our senses is the intelligence. Then we conclude, we get information from 3-4 sources, we combine them together and then we make a conclusion, and then we usually say, I see. Usually His Holiness Bhakti Vikas Swami Maharaj usually gives stress to this point that I see. But I see, you don't see by eyes, but what you do is make a conclusion in the mind after taking many inputs. When you hear, after hearing many things, you see. The most defective part is our eyes, and these eyes, which we completely rely on eyes only to understand what is beyond our senses. People talk about, can you show me God? This is the most common phenomenon where people challenges sadhus, can you show me God? But do you have a qualification to see the God? You are relying on something which is unreliable. There is no light. Darkness means you are not able to see anything. So how you can rely? We have to see something. Transcendence is beyond day and light. But you want to see something which is in the presence of the light. It's like trying to see the sun with the help of a torch. Not possible. The sun is a different entity altogether. A torch, mere torch cannot show you. It's like going in the dark. Baba, I have a torch. Can I see sun at night? Not possible. So intelligence is the thing which plays a very important role to try to see things beyond what our senses can see. So Srila Prabhupada gives an example. There are 4 types of intelligence in a society. The first class, the first person in nectar of instruction is that one person who just by hearing, once he understands that what is the real nature. Just beginning, if you look at the sun looks very small, like a small laddu or something. Just like we know about Hanumanji. Hanumanji saw the sun and he found it, wow, what a nice brilliant laddu to eat. And he went to eat the laddu, but in fact it was the sun. Then he was chastised. Then that's another Hanuman's pastime, where he was stopped from eating the laddu, but he had a power. That was the supernatural power of a devotee of the Lord, Hanuman, who could do all these magnificent things. So so once he hears that, we understand. Then when you are small, you are told, actually Baba, sun is big, it's not small. Srila Prabhupada gives an example further to elaborate is this, that thieving is bad. In the same example, that you should not rob. If you thieve, you will be punished. But a person is that, wow, who is there? Why? Who can? I will rob. Nobody will see me. Who can challenge me? I can do whatever I want to do. So this is the first level. The intelligent person says, no, I will not thief. This doesn't belong to me. So he stops from stealing. There is repercussions if you steal. You will be punished by the laws of nature. But an unintelligent person, he says, no, who can? I am the only person. Nobody can punish me. But a second class of intelligent person is shown, Baba, see, you are not believing, yeah? You stole and you got caught by a police. So he realized, okay, that there are some laws governing this, things are not just available. I should be controlling myself, and there is someone who actually this item belongs to. So for that, but he has to get caught and punished. The third level of intelligence is, actually he sees himself, he's been shown the thief. The third level is, Baba, there is nothing, police is taking him to some different place, giving nice treatment. He has been made famous on the streets, he has been taking paraded on the streets, he is becoming famous. But he doesn't know what treatment is given by the police inside the police station. For him, it is only, it's nice taken away, he is made famous. But inside the police station, he has been beaten, he has been put behind the bars. He is not able to see this. He is beaten, he doesn't get the taste of being beaten. But for that, no, there is nothing. Police is just taking him inside and just leave him. But for that, the third person is, he wants to experience this. And when he goes to the jail, he has been beaten, then he understands, Baba, stealing is really bad. That's the fourth class of intelligent person, not intelligent, the fourth class is a person after getting caught, beaten, in spite of doing this, he repeats this mistake ever and ever again. This is what our conditioned nature is, and mostly all of us, most of us fall in this category. We make mistakes, we realize and again make mistakes because we are not able to control our senses. We do not have faith in our superiors or mentors, that what he says, but we want to experiment things on our own senses. So, keeping faith is important, but you have to also see that we don't keep blind faith. So, superior, when you know there's someone is superior, he has some knowledge, but we do not keep blind faith. This is what actually happened in the modern Indian context of religion, is people kept their faith in wrong person who exploited them. They told them, because they had sincere attitude, sincere trying to understand who is supreme, who is the one who is controlling it, that. But some scrupulous people who want to exploit people, they got into their shelter and these people exploited them to the core. And even that, the people were blind. One should again use intelligence that other person is trying to exploit me in the name of religion or in the name of whatever it could be, that he should always keep his eyes open, that am I being exploited, am I being really taught, am I in the right hands? So, one should again require that intelligence, that it will come to know if the sincerity is there in the heart, you know that person is taking advantage or you are actually on the path of self-realization, you are actually on the right track of understanding who am I, who is he. But if you are being put in a wrong track, so our antennas, red alert should go on, Baba, this is, I am put in a wrong track, the person seems to be not genuine person, he is taking me for a ride. I simply, just because the scripture says that I need to respect elders, I need to respect teachers, doesn't mean that I respect rogues. This is what the current scenario is there. So, we just don't put our faith in the person, we put faith in the scriptures as well. That the scriptures give description of this person who is supposed to be a guru. So, we should know what is the qualification of a guru. To buy gold doesn't mean we just go to any shop and buy gold. Yeah, we have to go to a particular shop because it's a very expensive item. Whatever our hard work we have put in, we have got money, and that money has to be invested in right place, otherwise will be cheated, because the entire place is full of people being cheated and people who want to be cheated. So, one should know where to invest his faith, and that through the following scriptures he checks the character of a guru, that is it really the right person, is he able to control his senses, is he able to practice what is he preaching, or it is just blabbering only just because of his nice way of speaking, because of some magic tricks. So, one should always take shelter of the scriptures to understand the genuine person. Just like the shop which is there, if you are buying gold, it should be authorized by the government that yes, this person is authorized to sell gold. A doctor which we go, we see his certificate, yes, he is an MBBS doctor, yes, he is an Ayurvedic doctor. We don't go to any quacks. We should use our intelligence to understand this. So, just like presence of soul, now we are talking about self-realization, the presence of soul which is there in our body is explained by our own culture, by own intelligence. When you are small, you are told that when a person is dead, why is he dead? Because there is no soul. But how do we identify no soul? Because we do not have any instruments to measure the presence of soul. Neither do we have any our senses. Our senses is there is no motion, there is no air moving out. The person is not breathing. We conclude that person is dead. Dead means the soul, the substance which was keeping him alive, is out of the body. That's what it is, dead. Srila Prabhupada tries to give an example that how do we know it is daytime? It is not that all the time you have to see the presence of a sun in the daytime. Yeah, when you want in a room, it's a big building, and we want to know whether it's a sun, whether it's a daytime or not. It's not that we go all the way out and see whether the sun is there. If the sun is there, it's a day. It's not like that. The intelligent person, what he sees the daylight. Or there is a sunlight which is out. That means the sun is there. Concluded. Similarly, the presence of soul is our ability to perceive pains and pleasure. The body which is there is able to perceive pain. If it's pain, yes, you will check with the person, Baba, whether it's say pinching, Baba, I, ui, whatever he will say, that means he is there. We give him pleasure, we try to give some nice treatment. So he also reciprocates. This is how consciousness is perceived. The soul is perceived only through consciousness, not directly, but by inferences, by conclusion. This is how a soul is perceived. So, our entire culture, Sanatana Dharma, which is there, talks about culture. Culture means which comes from values. The value of this particular Indian society or Vedic society is nothing but self-realization, is to come out from this particular dungeon of darkness where there is only miseries and only good advertisement of happiness, but actually there is no happiness. Only signboards have been put that there is happiness after some time. It's called all post-dated checks. There is no happiness, no whatsoever. Because the body itself which we are in is temporary. If that body itself is temporary, how we can find a place where, how we can find pain, how we can find happiness? The body itself is giving us pain. How is that? Is dying, is becoming old, it is diseased. So is based on external factors which the body is falling, conditioned, and based on that body's nature, one is able to perceive what is pain and pleasure. And he thinks this is the place of pleasure, this world is of pleasure, is nothing but a foolishness. This is what the illusion is talked about, that to understand that I am the body, and whatever pleasure the body is given, that is pleasure, happiness, because that happiness is again is limited. But when you talk about happiness in scriptures or anything, is talk about supreme happiness, means there is no end to that happiness. It's once you get into it, it cannot be compared. The absence or presence of any material difficulties in our life will not stop the supreme happiness from affecting us. Because we are so focused, the supreme happiness is so supreme that the mere presence of disturbance in our life cannot do anything to us. So modern life, which is modern culture, is moving away from Sanatana culture, and what has been told is bodily comfort, and bodily comfort to get is money is important. So our values have changed. Our values which were talking about welfare of the soul, now it is the welfare of the body, and to keep the welfare of the body, what is required is money. It's all money culture. Right from the beginning of age, our parents tell us that, Baba, you become an engineer, you become a doctor, earn lots of money. Some children have been trained by their parents, pray to God for giving lots of money. Because happiness is perceived in terms of having facilities, that if the money is there, I will be able to buy facilities, and if the facilities are there, I will get happiness. But we get to see in the same culture where children have been asked to study hard, become doctor, engineers, have lots of money, become famous. These children from India have taken to USA, and the parents who trained them are lying in most of the places. They are alone at home, nobody to take care, only thieves and rogue comes because they know that the lady is helpless staying. They come, they murder, plunder the wealth, or at the most people are being put into old age homes. This was not the culture of Indian context, where elders were respected out of service, because that's how a jiva gets his piety. Elders, nobody can ever pay the debt to his parents or to his spiritual master. But we must try to pay the debt, but we will never ever able to pay. The only possibility of paying the debt is only when you become a parent or only when you become a guru, is that we are attempting to pay the debt. Otherwise, it's not possible. We are lifelong indebted to our parents. But now we are showing the money that yes, I took the medical expenses of my parents and I am a good son or a good doctor. I have treated, my parent died in a hospital with a nice mask, with a AC. This is what the modern calculation is all about. But only when a person goes, that when he sees that my children themselves are not taken care of me, then he realizes that I did the same thing to my parents, who are supposed to be, took all their life to care for me, took all the trouble, and when they really needed me, I put them into old age home. I put them into maids or servants who themselves have no love for them, and they died trying to see me, trying to hear my voice. So this is too late, and this is what actually the problems of the modern world, and this is coming from the Western civilization, which is only talks about the body and nothing about the soul, because they are blind. They don't have that intelligence to see the presence of soul, which makes the body alive. For them, body, the soul and body is one and the same. They have never been educated. Just like previous ages, we have seen these pyramids and all. Why are these pyramids? The fundamental basis of the pyramids is all on a wrong foundation. Those people, billions, they have a nice building technology, but they didn't know that when the soul is gone, the body is finished. They thought that the soul and body is temporarily not working. That one theory, that temporarily is not working. But we need to treat at night. The body may be getting alive, so they give whatever facilities the king had, the same facilities the king would get in that pyramid. They will preserve the body, thinking it will not get eaten by the worms or the germs. Let's preserve the body, and that's where the body is. And the person is still living, and let him enjoy all the facilities what he was enjoying while living. And that's how the big pyramids came into existence. Baba, you are decorating a dead body. There is nothing to decorate. It's all finished. So this is what the Western civilization is all about. It's only about body. And that body is only talking about temporary happiness. But the ancient science of Vedic wisdom or Sanatana Dharma talks about only the soul. And this is, we are not able to see. We need to put our faith in the scriptures. We need to put faith in our acharyas who lived that way, who were happy, all saintly people who were there in spite of presence of facilities or not. Example of Jesus Christ, who made very famous all over the world. Why? Because he was able to forgive the person who crucified him. Why he was able to forgive? Not because of a formality, not just trying to make a show that I am such a big man, because he could experience the supreme happiness of being connected with the Supreme Lord. And for him, someone giving some pain to his body is nothing. Yes. So, but what is made famous around Jesus Christ episode is one should forgive. He is our person who will take our sins. Completely wrong teachings. That he is Son of God, he is God, and he is come to take our sins. Complete doesn't make any sense. That we will sin and Jesus Christ is taken a contract to take our sins. Where is we are talking about supreme happiness? The talk is only about going to heaven. Heaven is Baba temporary, just like going to a holiday, which scriptures also talks about. Once you are Shine Punya Nritya Loka Vishanti, that once you have attended heaven, once your pious activity is finished, you will fall down. There is no permanence in the heavenly planets. It's temporary, but they advertise of giving philanthropic activity, opening schools, mundane schools, old age homes, hospitals, is nothing but taking care of the body. Is nothing going to help you long term. How many minutes we have, sir? 2 minutes only, Baba. Okay, because okay. Though here again, coming to the conclusion, before I wanted to speak more, same thing. Arjuna was also tested. Arjuna, at the time of this culture, he knew everything, science of self-realization, but all his culture, which was there of self-realization, got disturbed. He thought all his knowledge of soul also got blinded. So there is always a tug of war between in our body itself, that who is the winner at the end of every moment? Is it the soul, or is it the spiritual science, or is it the bodily science? So in the case of Arjuna, he let go his spiritual science because of compassion. He was not able to control his compassion. Soon as the compassion was there for the wrong persons, his body started shivering. He lost control of Gandiva. He took a vow, anybody who asks me to put down Gandiva, that's bow, I will kill him. But the same person, he is not able to hold Gandiva out of compassion. The body is there, everything is strong, very healthy. But the compassion which is there at the wrong place made him to lose all his self-determination. He forgot at this moment that this war is not a war which talks about family feud in modern times. Family feud in modern times is only money, is how much property I have in my account. But for Arjuna, the war for Arjuna and Yudhishthira is not for money. It is that these people are the leaders of the society and they will employ people in God's service. That these people, the naive people, will be able to do service to God and they get purified. That was the objective of this war. But is again wrongly advertised by Christians, that they say that Papa, your Krishna is instigating Arjuna for war. Whereas Jesus Christ is for all about love. He forgave those who tried crucifying him. But the equation is completely wrong, because you're just saying the flowers, you're not seeing the root, you're not understanding the basis of the war. The basis of the war is not property. The basis of the war of the Mahabharata is only to rule the kingdom in the right way, to engage naive people in the right direction. They were happy. Actually, the whole kingdom belonged to Pandavas, but they are happy with 5 villages. You give me 5 villages, I will do as my duty, what I am supposed to do in a society, and I will train naive people into becoming devotees. It's not that they wanted that I wanted half. Actually, everything belonged to them, but they were not looking for getting the entire kingdom or a half of a kingdom. They were looking only give me 5 villages, and they already had proved that they were given a barren land of Indraprasth, and they made a massive place out of it, out of their love for Krishna. And even that Duryodhana was not able to see. He was envious of that place, and that's how he took the Indraprasth. Because, okay, forget, you have taken my Indraprasth, take it, no problem. Because that is real supreme happiness. Give me just 5 villages, we will do our duties. So, at that particular time, Arjuna's intelligence was muddled. Because it's muddled, it's only for us to show, for us to learn, so that Bhagavad Gita could be spoken. So, for this, in this oasis of material existence, in this Kali Yuga, to know what is real value. Now the real value we have been so much brainwashed. For us the real value is money. But the real value in scriptures now, which is unfolded in Bhagavad Gita, which is talked about the spirit soul. First, the base, the foundation is basically the soul and the body. Lord Sri Krishna chastised Arjuna that you are giving importance to things which has no importance at all. For a dirt you are giving value. And what is the self, which is invisible, which is, you cannot see it, you are unconceivable, you cannot conceive it, and you have forgotten. Thing which is you are able to see, which you are able to conceive it, you are giving importance to it. It is actually other way around. So then he says, you may study about the soul, it is useless. The only way to able to experience soul is by prescribed duties. Hence, one person who does prescribed duties, he gets realization that actually I am a spirit soul. It is not over a period of time. Similarly, at this moment, for us, we know theoretically that we are spirit souls, but when it comes to day-to-day activities, when you put into some circumstances, we forget that we are a spirit soul. We act as if we are animals. We forget our values because we have been influenced, we have been conditioned. And to come out for that conditioning is required training. Training means a test becomes harder and harder. And eventually, when the top, which is the toughest test comes, which is death, at that time we should be able to pass that test. So, doing prescribed duties will make us to realize that I am a spirit soul. Otherwise, we will not able to understand who the spirit is. So, Srila Prabhupada gave the word prescribed duties. In Sanskrit, it is called swadharma. Dharma, which is coming out from which position you have been put by the divine arrangement, by material arrangement, that how you do the duties. Duties are important, items are not important. Lord Sri Krishna gives an example that in entire existence, a pen is a pen as long as it writes. A book is a book as long as it is written. If just for a book it is there and you can't write, it is useless. A pen, if you are not able to write, is useless. A spirit soul is there, means it has to exhibit its duty, and then only the effect will come. So, the spirit, so Krishna asked Arjuna that you need to do as a duty as a Kshatriya, fight, do not give up on these weaknesses of the heart. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada on the same lines gave us prescribed duties. Srila Prabhupada, coming from a medical background, I was saying that word prescribe. Prescribe means a doctor, he writes prescription. RX means I prescribe, because the doctor knows the patient is ill. He is not functioning in a healthy condition. To function in a healthy condition, he has to be cured, and the cure is the list of medicine, list of diet, what to take, what not to take, list of some exercises. Similarly, Srila Prabhupada devised, or the entire acharyas, Srila Prabhupada, when he says the modern times, he devised a morning Mangalarti program, chanting of 16 rounds a day, at least reading 1 to 2 hours of Srila Prabhupada books, just to keep our spirit alive. On top of that, preaching, and preaching is the topmost thing, that it includes everything, because for preaching you have to study books, you have to have the strength, you have to be chanting. So when you do preaching, everything is automatically included, that you are doing a master prescribed duties, not just prescribed. You don't do preaching that you say something else and you practice something else. This is what I talked about, having cheaters in a society where people are of exploitative nature. People come with motivated interest into this movement as well, but one should open up their eyes and see who is real and who is not genuine. I talked about all these examples of passing the test. We know from history of Prahlad Maharaj. Prahlad Maharaj was tested. He was not bereft of supreme happiness. What he did was, at any time when his father was put him to death to various ways, he was dependent on Krishna, because he knew that I am a spirit soul, nothing, no matter can touch me. I am ever existing and ever protected. It's just the body which is changing. So why should I be worried about things which is actually dirt, which has no meaning, no value? So that's how Prahlad. At the same time, we have example of Ambrish Maharaj, who was by Durvas Muni's curse, a demon was made to kill Ambrish. Ambrish was undisturbed because he was least bothered about the body. He was worried only about keeping his spirit soul in service of Krishna. So all these lessons which are there is again and again, time and time again, to remind us that I am a spirit soul, servant of Krishna, not just spirit. Spirit, I am just a soul, is very incomplete knowledge. But when we know, soul means it has some duty, and what is that duty? Any item has a duty, and that duty is I am a servant of Krishna, and that I will mold my life, that I am able to do service to Krishna. And service to Krishna means serving his devotees. And when you do it, the purification begins. With this, I conclude my class. Sorry, it took some longer time. Anyone has any questions?
So, nowadays there is artificial intelligence, and we spoke about how do we perceive a body has a soul. Is that when some stimulus is given, it will react,
respond.
It will feel. So some people theorize that actually they can also respond because they are also able to feel the stimulus which we are giving them. So then how do we explain such a thing? Because actually we know it's just an object, it doesn't have a soul, it's just dead matter. But it is reacting in particular ways to particular stimulus according to the program. So how to understand?
Trying to understand your question is, there are objects in life which also react to a stimulus when it is given. Just like any chemical is there.
As if given.
Yeah, exactly. That's like if you have a hydrochloric acid and I have a any base, it will combine together and find two totally different products. Right? Am I understanding is correct? That you are trying to say these are not two objects as objects. There are two hydrochloric acid, another solution, and sodium hydroxide. Two different elements, right? Am I trying? Correct me if I am wrong. If I mix together, they react. That means they show the symptoms of life. That's what you are trying to say.
In the sense that, for instance, there is a robot.
Robot. Okay.
It will, from external point of view, who doesn't know it's a robot, it will seem as if it's an actual person and is smiling or crying or whatever. They are showing as if it's a actual living person. We know technically it's just someone made it, made that thing, and it's programmed to react in particular ways. So how someone can identify, because
whether the person is a robot or a human being? That's what your question is.
No, the question is that some people theorize that actually there is no such thing as a
there's nothing called soul. Now I got it. Now I got it. Yeah, I got it. Now what you're trying to say is, just like human beings are there, now man has made human being exactly like that, because in the capacity of man, they also were able to make something in their laboratory, and they made something called robot, which is much better than a human being. Human being at least gets tired, and it is chances are that it can make mistakes. Robots is so perfect, so intelligent, it can do complex calculation, it can mop the floor, it can do, it's like a genie out of the Aladdin lamp, it can do n number of things. That robot is much better than a human being. And this is what exactly you are coming to the point. The scientists, they themselves are defining it, that the human being which is there is full of defect. But what makes him to full of defect is the first question to be answered. Because there are emotions in human being. Because of the emotions, he is not able to concentrate on a particular task. He gets disturbed by some emotions. But a robot is been programmed. Means he is been told only to do this particular action only. So he is basically a thing. It's like any normal machine which is like a motor which is moving round. The job of a motor is moving round only. It cannot move up and down unless it is broken. Yeah, the job of a piston in an engine is to go back and forth. Yeah. So, but it is made in such a way that it is given a face of a human being eyes. It may give an impression that is a human being, but at the core is he able to experience happiness? Is he able to experience emotion? There are no emotions. He is that particular robot which has got intelligence of that programmer who has programmed it to act in a particular fashion, but there is no absence of emotion. Emotions means there is compassion. When you see something that, oh, there's someone is in pain, let me put aside my agenda and help someone help. And there's happiness which come of fulfilling their doing some particular thing. At the end, robot requires energy which on they survive on. Human beings require energy plus some emotions. Without emotions, there is nothing to human being. So it's not just related to human being. You can see there are different rungs of consciousness of animals, even small animals which are there, which is we find that they have affection, they have a family, they feel pains and pleasure. That once their not only their pain, not their own pleasure, when they see their family members are affected, they become morose. You see on YouTube is full of all these things. How a dog responds to a master. Robots to make, it's very expensive. You have to work very hard, plenty of money, that's a robot is born. How a human being is born? How much is the investment required? One male and female, fertile male and female. Any poor person somewhere in the corner of the world can make human being. He just becomes a media. The person is made, the human being is made by the supreme arrangement by Lord Sri Krishna. But the male and female, they come together to make a human being. And he makes mistake because there are emotions. Because of emotions, he gets deluded. His path becomes shaken up. But when out of practice, he is able to be on that path, no matter what disturbance is there, he will be able to pave the way. But for a robot, it is once the battery is lost, when the particular this is lost, the robot is broken, is thrown. There is no something called soul. The soul is only working, its machine is working. It gives an impression that is a human being. But there is nothing called emotions. We don't hear robots are being built with emotions as such. They have been built to respond to a particular stimulus. Maybe a person is fallen. It is fallen only because he knows that it has to do his job to lift him up. But for a human being, it is spontaneous. Based on the training of that human being, he will do whatever. He will give some water, or maybe he may not even look at it. He say, Baba, I have a bigger things to do. If he is so self-centered, that person, he may just overlook and let the man die. But that robot is programmed only to do that particular, only lift people. It cannot do any other activity. It is not, but a human being can do versatile activities. Can nurse a person, can eat for himself, can take care of the other person, can do shopping, can do various activities. But robot is programmed only to do that activity. They are able to only speak, only to tell some particular thing. It's only one-sidedness of a robot. But a human being which is made by God, the body is made by God, the consciousness, the soul which is there, which has his desires fulfilled, it is done through the emotions. I hope I have answered, or you can maybe add some other points if you think.
In Bhagavatam there is mention, it's mentioned that Rishabdev, he says that unless who is dependent on you, unless you make them Krishna consciousness, Krishna conscious, parents don't have right to beget the children, and spiritual master has no right to make us.
No, Guru Nanasya, yeah, that verse, yeah, that's.
Does it apply for if a son cannot make their parents Krishna conscious, he is not a proper son? Is it like that also?
Okay, it's a common. We talked about emotion. It's a common thing that we saw you eaten something nice. The human being is such a nice person that if he eats, he doesn't want to eat by himself. He wants to share that I have eaten something wonderful. If my friend, if he eats, he'll also able to eat, and when he sees he enjoying more, that he likes it, his happiness becomes double. In a person who is self-centered, what he'll do, Baba, no, I will not get, I'll eat entire thing, I will not tell him also. That is self-centered interest. But a person who is really genuine or who has love, person who eats, he has only example in terms of maths, he gets only X amount of happiness, that I've eaten full everything. But a person who wants to live with other social person, he wants to give it to his brother. The same item, when he talks about it and he describes, oh, this is wonderful, your happiness was X when you ate it, but when he talks about it, it becomes double X. Just like a mother and a son, it's quite common that the son or a daughter may like a particular item which the mother has prepared, and because that child is not able to, there is no other emotions other than self-interest, he eats all of what is given to him, he asks more. The mother never says, Baba, that no, you have eaten your share, now this is for me. The mother never says this. Even the father also, he gives whatever is for the child, because then he is able to experience the happiness which the child is experiencing, and it is many times, it's on a logarithmic scale, it's on a 10 to the power of 10. So, when you experience devotional service, you want to give it to others, it's not only limiting to your parents. And you feel more sad that you are giving to others, but only your own parents are not having it. You feel more sad that I am giving it to others, I am experiencing it, and these people are not able to like it. Just like a sick person, mango is very nice, but because of diabetes, a parent is not able to eat. You feel sorry, Baba, the king of mango, because you're diabetic, you can't eat, or you're not. Same thing. The people are not taking a Krishna consciousness only because they have been diseased of this illusory energy. So, only such parents, out of attachment for the child, over a period of time, they may get able to listen to the child's out of love. Okay, the child is saying, giving me some instruction, okay, I'll follow it, out of love. But it takes time. The more you shower love to your parents, that you listen to me or not to me, my duty is to serve you. Because of your service attitude, they will also pick up Krishna consciousness one time. But if you fight with them, that's the problem. Just by your examples, our examples, we are able to influence them by service attitude. That you say 1,000 things wrong about me, no problem, but don't say anything to my devotee friends or to Krishna. With that, you will go down. But you, no problem. You actually are telling the fact about me, that what you are talking about. So that's how you prevent them from doing offenses. And then they slowly, looking at your own example, there are many things in the history where people have turned just by looking at others' purity. So your purity will purify them. As we have Haridas Thakur, just he is chanting Hare Krishna mantra, the person who came to bring infamy to him, who wanted to make him a victim, what's her name? A prostitute, Maya Devi herself personified came, but she became a devotee out of the purity of Haridas Thakur. Similarly, our practice should be, we will not be able to tell. Haridas Thakur didn't tell her, Baba, what you are doing nonsense activities, take Japamala and chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, read Bhagavad Gita. He didn't tell like this. Okay, no problem, let me finish my duty, my prescribed duties. So he was chanting Hare Krishna Mahamantra. The aura of purity was so much that the next person also become pure. Wherever possible, we tell others that to the extent of what other person is able to listen to us, who are able to take seriousness in this. Just like a mother sometimes tell a child, study. Study doesn't make boy study. Many people have a problem that my children is not studying. I have told him many times, I am telling him to study. But the technique is, Baba, come, let's study together. So as the child, so when you teach the child, that's how study. You tell the techniques how to study, and the study becomes very nice. Otherwise, if you say study, 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 the son will run away. All the time my mother is asking me to study. But if they change, the parent says, okay, let's study together. Let's eat together. Let's do something together. The equation becomes completely different. Oh, this is, the child also, this is very difficult to memorize. My child is very small. How will he able to memorize this? Okay, let me devise a technique how to memorize. And the parent tells, oh, this is a technique to memorize this. The child finds, oh, very nice. Previously I was finding it very difficult to put this in my head. You have shown me very nice way. A relation has been built. So this is a faith has been built. Yeah, so relationship is out of helping each other, and that can make this world a wonderful place to be in. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.